welcome to the Daily English Show. As you may or may not know, thanks to Super Simple Songs, we're giving away some awesome CDs on the Daily English Show. Congratulations to Hayashi Masako from Chiba, who got July's CD, and Sayamama in Iwane, who got the CD in August. I hope you guys enjoy the CDs as much as I do. We still have one CD to give away, Super Simple Songs number 3. I highly recommend these CDs if you teach kids, or if you have kids, or if you have friends with kids. The CDs come with lyrics too, and cute fish. So if you're a member, you can send me an email to say you want this CD, and I will send it to one lucky person at the start of October. And I'll send it anywhere in the world, so you don't have to be in Japan. Today's guest is Paul. Paul is from New Zealand and he's in Japan at the moment visiting friends and also writing a few stories because he does some freelance journalism. You might recognise him from TV commercials if you've ever watched TV in New Zealand, because he's been in quite a few ads in New Zealand and one or two Japanese ones too, I think. If I can find any on the internet, I'll put a link next to the video. Anyway, he contacted me to say he was interested in writing a story about the Daily English Show, and then he came to the studio on Saturday to interview me. And he also agreed to be a guest on today's show. I asked him how he found out about the Daily English Show.
Well, I have some Japanese friends who came to New Zealand, Genki and Kei from Okayama and Takamatsu, and I met them when they were cycling in New Zealand, and we spent time together and we had a barbecue and quite a lot of fun in Wanganui, and they introduced me to your show and I was quite fascinated. So one of the reasons I came to Niseko was to come and interview you for the New Zealand newspapers. Yeah.
Kia ora, in Stick News today, the 2008 Paralympic Games are now being held in Beijing.
The Paralympic Games are a multi-sport event for athletes with physical, mental and sensorial disabilities. Apparently, the name was originally coined as a portmanteau combining paraplegic and Olympic. Paraplegia is paralysis of the legs and lower body, typically caused by spinal injury or disease. The Paralympics were originally for people with spinal injuries, but when other disability groups started to be included, the explanation of the name was no longer considered appropriate. So the formal explanation for the name has changed. The explanation is now that it derives from the Greek para, which means beside or alongside, and thus refers to a competition held in parallel with the Olympic Games. This year, the 13th Paralympics are being held in Beijing, China. The Games opened on Saturday and will continue until the 17th of September. Over 4,200 athletes from 148 countries will take part in the Games.
And that was Stick News for Monday, the 8th of September. Kia ora. Where are you from? How long have you been in Japan? What are you doing here this time? Why do you have so many Japanese friends? So the first time you came here was for judo, and all the training is in Japanese. So how did you learn Japanese? You do some freelance journalism, don't you? What kind of stories do you do? Do you have any advice for people who are learning English?
I'm from Auckland, New Zealand. This is my 5th visit and I've been here 4 weeks so far. I'm just visiting my friends. I've been all over Japan to Okinawa, Hokkaido, Okayama, Hiroshima, Yeah, travelled around Japan quite a lot. Because I've started martial arts about 20 years ago doing karate and judo, and became quite involved with judo, and so became involved with Japanese culture, and then about 15 years ago I made the team to the first World Sumo Champs at Kokugikan in Tokyo. The first time it was for sumo, to compete in the sumo competition, but then I've also come every time, that time and other times I've come to do judo training as well. Yeah, I go and do a lot of training in Saitama with my good friends from Saitama. Yeah. Yes. I'd like to live in Japan, but I haven't been able to do that yet. So I thought the next best thing is to have a house full of Japanese flatmates, which I did in Auckland. And I was always listening to them talking Japanese, and I'd try and learn a new word or two off them every day, and try and use it. And I think the important thing is, once you've learnt it, to use it as many times, especially that day and the next few days, as much as possible. It's the best way to retain it long term. I'm quite interested in human interest stories, so I've interviewed some Buddhist monks who came to New Zealand and lived in New Zealand, got citizenship. A guy that had the first car number plate in the Maori language, a mother of a child that disappeared off a beach in New Zealand and was never seen again. That kind of thing. Yeah, so quite a broad interest. Yes, I've been studying English for 46 years and I'm still learning. I still make mistakes. So I think especially if you're speaking English, don't think too much about what you're going to say first, just say it. And I think most people don't care if you make a mistake. They just want to know you and understand what you want. They don't care if your language is perfect or imperfect, and try and use it as much as possible. If you have friends who are learning English, try and have one day a week or one time when you speak English with them. Even if it's, if you're all Japanese, still try and find a particular time when you're just going to speak English together. So repetition, I think, is the most important thing, to use it as much as possible. And I think I've heard you say, and lots of other people say, use it or lose it, and I think it's quite true.
Where is Paul from? A. Auckland, B. Saitama, C. Australia. A. How many times has Paul been to Japan? A. He has never been to Japan. B. More than 20 times. C. This is his 5th time. C. The first time Paul came to Japan, it was A. to teach English, B. as a university student, C. for a sumo tournament. C. Paul said in New Zealand he had Japanese A. flatmates, B. workmates, C. staff. A. Paul said he was interested in writing about A. politics, B. sports, C. human interest stories. C.
And that was the Daily English Show. See you tomorrow. Bye.